Welcome everyone to the Village of South Russell Special Council meeting. This is the budget work session. It is Monday, October 28th, 2024. It's 5:30 p.m. Roll call.
Berger.
Here.
Canton.
Here.
Kavanaugh. Here. Galicki.
Here.
Porter.
Here.
Bell.
Here. All right, our first department up is the Safety Committee. Chief, floor is yours.
Thank you. A number of things have changed over the last few weeks since I submitted my initial budget changes worksheet, specifically regarding the Chagrin Valley Dispatch issue. So after doing a little more review and research, we've determined that there could be substantially more savings in the fact that if we did depart CVD and go to Geauga County, our IT costs would be greatly reduced as well after, of course, an onboarding with Geauga County ADP. So that would make us part of the village network, which involves Village Hall, service, and the building department. CVD's grown exponentially since the original 6 members established CVD. We've grown to 32 agencies. The atmosphere within has been described as chaotic sometimes. Currently, there's a high rate of turnover. There are new dispatchers that are unfamiliar with South Russell, don't know landmarks, don't know, a lot of details about South Russell, such as where's Bell Road. Sometimes calls are being given to the wrong community. Conditions are chaotic when outside larger, more active agencies are putting significant demand on the dispatch center. IT staff is shorthanded. They're looking for IT technicians. This is CVD IT. We are continuing to have IT and software issues with the new multi-million-dollar program they implemented. The program's continuously logging out officers. I worked Sunday a couple of weeks ago, and I got logged off about 4 times. Over a dozen agencies opted out of that program. They're using something different now. We are not the only police department intent on seeking other options. There is a Cuyahoga County agency that is seeking to leave and join forces with another Cuyahoga County dispatch center. Chagrin Falls Police Department themselves reached out to the Geauga County Sheriff's Department, also seeking police services. That's, the namesake for Chagrin Valley Dispatch is seeking other options to leave. We've had a good working relationship with CVD and their employees, some of which I consider good friends. However, the circumstances and level of service has changed over the years. The benefits that we would get by moving to Geauga County are that we already receive and use the following services: Juvenile Court, Chardon Municipal Court, Geauga County Prosecutor, Geauga County Job and Family Services, Ravenwood Mental Health, Geauga County Animal Warden, the County Coroner, and the Geauga County Jail. We're not making an irrational, knee-jerk decision based on a rate increase. We've had a long-standing relationship with Geauga County, and we have regular communications with them while accessing the aforementioned services. The courts are also migrating to electronic submissions. So being that we would be on the same network, Geauga County, it would be beneficial that we would no longer need to send officers out of the village twice a week to transport cases to court. Expungements, redactions, and sealing of records would be done by Geauga County staff, and that would be lifted from our officers. They wouldn't be responsible for doing that. The prosecutor would have access to our incident database. We'd be on the same channel with all Geauga County agencies, and we are surrounded by 3 sides by Geauga County entities. The citizens of Geauga County are already paying for the service. We have not taken advantage of this in the past due to the level of service and technology we had at CVD. The situation, the circumstances have changed, unfortunately. The police department would look to cease IT operations with CVD and join the Geauga County ADP network along with Village Hall, service, and the building departments. We are currently paying CVD $15,000 a year for IT services. After onboarding with ADP, our annual recurring costs will go from $15,000 annually to about $2,200 annually with ADP. 3 years of CBD IT service would be $45,000. The onboarding in 3 years with ADP would equate to about $30,000, saving us another $15,000. And over 5 years, it would save us $25,000. The citizens of South Russell or anyone in this room would know the difference because nothing, absolutely nothing changes. The calls are still going to be received the same, except I believe we would have an increase in improvement in response time. A lot of our 911 calls go to Geauga County and just get transferred back to CBD because 911 from a cellular phone will go to Geauga County Dispatch. They don't get routed to Chagrin Valley on a cell network. They get routed to Geauga County. Then Geauga County passes it back to CBD. So what would happen is if we get a 911 emergency call to Geauga County would be able to notify us and say, hey, your rescue squad's going to get dispatched to this location. We would get there even faster because they're getting us the call before CBD gets it and has to process it. So we would see an improvement in our response time to medical calls as well. In all, the savings would be about $40,000 in police dispatch savings. Over 5 years, it'd be $200,000. $15,000 in service IT contract savings, $75,000 over 5 years. And then we would not have to pay for the Motorola software that we utilize through CBD, which equates to $300,000 over 5 years. So the total, like I said, $300,000 over 5 years, $600,000 over 10 years. I also received a letter from Prosecutor Flays regarding the potential to transfer our services over to CBD. I'd be happy to read that to you if you'd like.
Sure.
Yeah, I think I'd like to hear it.
Unless it's really long.
No, it's pretty reasonable. Chief Rizzo, I'm writing to you regarding South Russell possibly switching from Chagrin Valley Dispatch to Geauga County Dispatch. This is an issue that the Village Safety Committee spent a lot of time examining while I served as a member of council and dispatch, and is an issue I'm very familiar with in my role as prosecuting attorney. I wanted to express my support for a switch and articulate a few reasons why making this change would be in the best interest of our residents, business owners, and the South Russell Police Department. Technology has evolved over the years significantly since the village last evaluated dispatch services. There's also been a change in how people seek emergency services as cell phone usage has steadily increased while landlines are disappearing. Most of the cell calls in the village, even west of 306, are connected to towers in Geauga County. These calls are usually directed to Geauga County Dispatch, which are then relayed to Chagrin Valley Dispatch. Before calls can be relayed, information must be ascertained to determine where the call is coming from. This also prevents problems with 911 hang-up calls and open lines. When it comes to emergency services, seconds count, and the delays associated with transferring these calls are unacceptable. Cost is also a major issue. Our residents already pay for Geauga County Central Dispatch through our sales tax. Geauga County has invested in this sales tax money over the last 20 years into our 911 system, dispatch technology, and tower upgrades throughout the county. South Russell residents have paid their fair share of these investments but are not reaping the benefits. In addition to the millions of dollars of infrastructure upgrades, Geauga County has also invested in placing the entire county on the same law enforcement technology platform. The Spillman system that is primarily utilized by every law enforcement agency in the county except South Russell is also available at no cost. By making this the primary system, South Russell Police will save thousands moving forward as the village benefits from the technology advancements. This system is currently in the process of integrating with our court systems again. South Russell would be left behind with the rest of the county. Finally, Chagrin Valley Dispatch is a completely different entity since a change was last evaluated. Simply put, it is much too large to provide the level of service that our residents expect and deserve. As I write this letter, Geauga County Dispatch has 1 active call, while Chagrin Valley Dispatch has 20. Our dispatch employees know our community and know our officers because they live here and raise their families here. When our residents call for help, they should immediately be connected to someone who can help them and who knows where South Russell is on the map. Unfortunately, that is not always happening now. It goes on to say, if you or any village officials would like to discuss this matter further, please do not hesitate to call me. Again, not only is there significant savings to the village, I think that we would be in a better situation being more connected to Geauga County. We were in a situation where the technology had been better in the past. Again, unfortunately, things have changed a little bit, and I think we can save quite a bit of money, and especially in a budget where I'm looking for IT advancements myself and the body camera and the mobile video systems to the tune of about $45,000. So that's basically it in a nutshell. If there are any other questions on the other line items, please, I'll entertain them now.
May I have a word?
Yes, sir.
Dennis, please chime in whenever you feel appropriate. During our October 17th meeting, the chief and the lieutenant expressed with great enthusiasm why we should go to Geauga County. And after a discussion during the meeting, I believe that Dennis and I, he both agreed that we'd like to see this go forward. At least take a long look at it, discuss it a little bit more perhaps, but go forward. You know, Jesse James used a gun when he robbed the bank and could have gotten shot. We were given a $42,000 bill, not based on usage. I mean, this is not good for our citizens.
Here's a question. Sorry, I'm chewing. I call 911. Chagrin, I get a Chagrin, whatever you want to call the bus.
Dispatcher.
No, not the dispatcher, but say the bus comes, I'm having a heart attack or whatever it is.
Mhm.
We change, I call 911, who's going to show up?
That's a good question. Nothing changes with fire dispatch because we would still continue to use fire. We are in a 3-year contract with them right now. We're in year number 3 in 2025. Nothing has to change. We do not need to change our fire contract. We can continue to pay CBD to dispatch our fire department. All this does, it takes that approximately $90,000 and it pulls $40,000 out for police services. You would, at this point, be, instead of paying the $90,000 for the combined services, you would only be paying about $47,000 for fire dispatching. So CBD, because Chagrin Valley Fire Department is associated with Chagrin Valley Dispatch, they would continue to dispatch the fire department to us because we contract with them.
So it's going to be a Chagrin ambulance. that
Nothing
shows up.
changes, nothing changes for you, nothing changes for the citizens. We are still currently using Chagrin Valley Fire. It's only where where the police department is getting their calls from. The only thing that changes is who dispatches the police calls.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Chief, the last time this came up, I seem to recall that the reason we stayed with Chagrin Falls Fire Department in part was because the dispatch was CBD. And because we were staying with them, we kept the police side of it there as well. I don't ever remember hearing we could split them.
The reason we weren't looking for that is because we had a superior system at the time. We had a different software solution at the time with CBD, and everything was working very well. And we weren't as huge as we are today. We were a lot smaller. You know, in the beginning, it was only 6 of us. And then that grew over the last 10 years to 32 municipalities, 32 entities. So we've been growing. And over the last 2 years, they implemented this brand new software, which is what we've been struggling with IT issues, you know, the logging off of the mobile data terminals. It's been continuous. And a lot of, as I said in my previous statement, about a dozen of those agencies within CBD have pulled out of that using that remote records management system. So things have changed as far as the technology and the actual dispatching services. We elected to stay with them at the time because we had a superior service at the time.
Anybody else?
Well, one thing, I don't remember the safety center being, Geauga Safety Center having technology behind CBD at that time. I remember the tour we all took, and it was rather impressive. But in the last 10 years, you're saying now we can split
We can.
fire dispatch and police dispatch and save, I don't know, 40 grand or something?
It's going to be more to the tune of about $62,000 between IT services and dispatching. So we wouldn't have to pay for dispatch services for PD. We wouldn't have to pay for the software that we run on our mobile data terminals. We wouldn't be on the same IT network. We would remove ourselves from Sugar Valley IT, move along with ADP. And again, our annual costs with ADP look to be about $2,200 a year compared to about $15,000 a year. And that could be the fact that we're already a customer and that we've already got the infrastructure here. So there are some onboarding costs to get hooked up with ADP. But in the long run, after the 3-year projection I made, we're saving $25,000.
How long is the integration period?
That could be a matter of a month, as far as ADP goes. Now, as far as Geauga County goes, and speaking with them, we could be ready to move as early as December 1st, December 1.
Okay.
So the other side of this whole issue is the contract with Sugar Valley Dispatch. We're locked in to continue to pay them throughout the remainder of the contract. So that would be the only negative. We are going to, we're going to be moving our operations hypothetically, but we would still be locked into paying that contract until the end of that contract. The cutoff for leaving CBD is July 1st. July 1st of the current year to end your services by December. When they implemented this rate increase that happened in late September, early October, we got notified. So nobody in Chagrin Valley can get out of the contract at this point in the game. I asked about that to see if there was any potential that we could potentially opt out early. And the director made a statement that basically said, your mayor would have to approach the mayors and state his case and see if they would be willing to release South Russell out of the contract early. However, if we did that, we would have to do that for everybody. So I don't know how successful an attempt like that would be.
So for instance, the contract is worded that it's the effective date of a cancellation of the contract is December 31st of any given year. But in order to get that effective date, you have to give notice by July 1st of that same year. July 1st of this year is already gone. So we'd have to give notice by July 1st of 2025 to have the effective cancellation date of 12/31/25.
So we're gonna pay CBD
No matter what.
for.
Unless we can get an exception.
Solicitor, does the CBD contract specify a rate, a cost rate?
It has a schedule. One second. And it does allow for increases based on members' votes, what kind of just happened actually in September or October of this year. So, yes, it allows for.
So what's the advantage of switching to Geauga County while this?
Good question.
So while this is going
Yeah.
on, the problems that we've been having with the IT, the tech and everything goes away. We would be migrating over to their software. We're looking to do that anyway, to start migrating over to their software, which is the county network, Geauga County Sheriff's Network. So in reality, we can improve our response times. We can have a more of a central dispatch center with dispatchers that are not we're not going through the continuous, turnover that's happening over there. They're shorthanded by almost a dozen dispatchers right now. And I think by going over to Geauga County now, we can start taking advantage of what services are being offered to us immediately. It would be better for all of our officers. It would be better, the technology again. We had a departmental meeting, we talked to our entire full-time staff, and the entire staff unanimously felt that moving over to Geauga County would be in all of our best interest. And especially the level of service. We think the level of service would be an improved level of service at this point.
But in the meantime, we're paying
No
this
matter what,
increased rate until December of '25.
no matter what. Because of how that contract was written, because of how this rate increase came at the 11th hour with basically no opportunity for anybody to get out of the contract
This year.
this year.
Right.
And next year, 2025.
No, you can in 2025.
At the end of
At
it,
the end.
Correct.
you're
But that's
paying throughout 2025.
correct.
You
But at
won't
least
start
it could-
seeing any economies until 2026.
But had the, yes, but had again, they not waited till the third or fourth quarter of this year, everyone would have still had that opportunity July 1st.
Sure.
But
Shame on
there will be savings if we end up making the IT switch. We can get out of that contract in a matter of 3 months. So if we did it now, we would only be paying for January's IT basically. And then we're saving that $15,000. We're gonna migrate over to Geauga County ADP. Ultimately, we're gonna be saving a little bit, but of course, that onboarding costs for the IT.
Bothers me, we're paying for a service that we're not actually using.
Well, I think you can look at it both ways. It probably bothers the community that we've been paying for a service that we're not utilizing either in Geauga County.
Sure, but the answer was, the fire truck comes faster, was the old answer.
Yeah, well, let's do apples to apples.
Yeah.
It's all police. The response times for the fire department are a totally different issue.
Mhm.
And, the whole issue here is that, these are police dispatch costs that basically we're talking about
Yeah.
divorcing ourselves from.
Year one will be, we will not see a savings. But year 2 through whatever, we're gonna save significantly.
So then what happens in a year with the fire truck, with the fire stuff? That's
Well,
gonna,
that's entirely up to, the council. If you guys are satisfied and happy with Chagrin Valley Fire, there's no reason why you can't re-engage another contract, and then that continues as it is, nothing changes. You do have the option to look to the north and the south, to Bainbridge and Russell, for quotes on fire contracts. And if that's the case, if you guys decided to do that, then there would be zero cost in dispatch. But, you gotta think about what the community wants. Does the community like the services that they receive from Chagrin Valley Fire? I've worked with them for 27 years. They've been a fine outfit. They do a very good job. I wouldn't be happy to see them go, but I also think that they do a fantastic job. They have improved their training and improved through the years. They're not your, typical volunteer fire department. It's a very professional, well-trained department. And I truly do enjoy working with them. And that won't change right now. Everything remains the same.
this has like pieces and parts, so I don't even know if this is germane to the conversation, but having called 911 countless times in Newberry, because it was the sheriff's department responding, is nothing like you guys are less than 5 minutes.
Right.
We'd wait 15, 20 minutes.
Danielle can probably attest to that with response time to a call at your home.
In Auburn,
Yeah.
yeah, 45 minutes for the sheriff's office. But here, if you went to dispatch, it's you guys responding.
It's us.
It's-
They're basically just putting the call to
And
us.
that's not gonna change.
No, that's going to improve, because they're not gonna have to take that call and transfer it back to Chagrin Valley.
So how many dispatchers do they have working up there?
At once, maybe 12 to 14.
They get that volume of calls already?
Well, it's because we have big communities like Euclid in our center. Euclid is, off the charts.
No, I'm talking, not
Oh,
Chagrin
Geauga
Valley, yeah,
Geauga County has 4 dispatchers in their homes.
and it's strictly for Geauga County.
Geauga County only. Of course, again, Chagrin Falls approached Geauga County and they declined providing them services because they said, we're only offering services to Geauga County entities.
Solicitor, is our contract with dispatch severable like that? This sounds too good to be true, then. I hope it is.
I'm looking, yeah, to continue on that, what's the downside?
You mean severable with respect to the fire department
Yeah.
versus, I think so. I think it is.
Because, I mean, I don't want to find us in a position where we're paying for police and fire to Chagrin Valley Dispatch, even though we're with the police with Geauga County.
I see what you mean. No, I think we're still gonna be paying this contract through
Yeah,
December
that's what it
31st,
sounds like.
2025. Correct.
Until we cancel July 1st on the police side.
That's
Well,
correct.
can we get a meeting with CBD and have that discussion face to face?
Sure.
The suggestion was the mayor, right? Going to the mayor.
Yeah, that's what the director informed me that, our mayor would have to approach the rest of the mayors and state his case as to why we would like to sever or recover
Right.
some of the,
Get an exception to the rule on how to cancel the contract,
Yeah.
quite frankly.
because we were put in a position that the rates are going to be increasing and nobody had an opportunity to opt out.
Because we didn't know what the numbers were gonna be as of July 1. So I think the next step is to have that meeting.
And be prepared for a yes or a no,
Well,
because it's removing money from dispatch. If they say yes to allowing us out early on the police side.
And the reality is, they would increase the rates of the 31 remaining members by about $1,600 to make up for our exit. So each member would pay I think we talked about it, Chris, $1,600 to $1,800 per agency. That would make up for the $40,000 deficit that we would create for them.
They would charge more.
They would charge everybody else
Because there's one less community.
one less community. Well, again, we may not be the only ones.
Well, true. It's like asking someone to cut their own throat in a small way or a large way.
Well, that's the other,
Trying.
that's the other potentiality, is that if there are other communities that are looking to leave Chagrin Valley Dispatch, their costs are going to be shared among the remaining players. If we stay with them, our costs could go up.
Possible, sure.
And I'm not at liberty to discuss names, but there are not just a few entities looking elsewhere.
And could we say honestly, that's a result of the huge increases that we saw in September?
Yes, I mean, there are some tremendous increases for some of these other entities to the tune of $100,000, $200,000, and $300,000. Tremendous increases. But, of course, on our channel, we were one of the 6 originals that had an increase. Chagrin Falls Village had an increase, Chagrin Falls Township had an increase, and Orange Village also had an increase. And I also discovered that they've already made a decision for 2026 and 2027, raising the rates, again, 2.8%, 3.2% in 2026 and 2027, pushing us closer to $94,000. So we're going up. By the end of the next 5 years, we're going to be over $100,000 a year.
Chief, are there any communities that have just fire through Chagrin Valley Dispatch?
Well, I think some of them have just
Or
police.
just police?
The Sheriff's Department, Cuyahoga County Sheriff, and Metro Park have just police, and also Bratnall have just police. I believe Cleveland Fire Department does Bratnall's.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
So the-
I feel kind of blindsided. I know we said we would look into this. I got late to the safety committee meeting when you talked about visiting there. I go to Columbus and 3 different communities, oh, you're leaving, telling me that we're leaving. I said, no, we're not leaving. Then I come home and I see the agenda motion. I serve on the executive committee, this is Chagrin Valley Dispatch. You painted a picture of what I don't see and hear. Chaos? No. We have some issues. Mainly it's financial. But we went to where CBD is the best and Nick is a great guy,
Sure is.
to now CBD is not the best. And you're basically slamming poor leadership here. So, I sent out, I finally have learned, you write your email and then you wait 24 hours before you send it out. Because what I was gonna send out Friday night was not very nice, and I've got a list of questions which I sent out to you, and you've pretty much come close to some of those.
Mhm.
But, gee, I guess I'm surprised that all of a sudden, boom, the motion is there, and this is the first real discussion we've had about this issue.
Well, when we were at the safety committee meeting and we discussed what the process was, you said that you were in favor of it, you agreed. I thought you were on board, so I apologize. I thought you were on board with the safety committee recommendation to move forward.
Okay, not at all. I think we gotta go back to CBD and see what's, and say, look at this. I mean, and if anybody deserves blame, it is the executive committee, of which there's 7 of us and I'm one, for allowing this situation to happen. But I guess maybe I didn't see the tea leaves coming this way.
Here's a question. Say we go with Geauga County
Mhm.
and CBD realizes the unhappiness, collective unhappiness, just not us, with this price increase, and they find some real substantive solutions. Can we switch back?
Nothing says you can't. But again, we're moving to utilize a service
Free
that
system.
we're already paying for.
Yeah, I hear you.
And that's, again, that's one of the main reasons that, in the past, we've always had a better quality and level of service with CBD. And since we've changed this new software and things have gone amiss, things are not well. Things are not good for us. We are continuously having, tech problems. The software, that they implemented 2 years ago did not go over very well with a majority of the agencies. So we want more stability. We want the ability to move to a platform that's been, tried and true and has been in operation for several years and improved at Geauga County. We honestly do feel that at this point in the game, we have a better opportunity for improved services and for better efficiency.
Chief, what issues do the software issues you're encountering, how does that affect your response time when somebody needs you?
So a lot of the information gets dispatched to us over the air, but you get a lot of the detail in the CAD screen that you get on your MDT. And a number of times we have just been simply logged off remotely by dispatchers for an unknown reason. Another thing with this software, I don't think that they've worked out all the bugs. This is a brand new platform that Motorola has created. We all sat in a big room and they did a great demonstration, and on the big screen TVs, it was great, and it worked, phenomenally in the test environment. But on the road, again, we're constantly being logged off our system. We get a lot of important information over that mobile data terminal. Again, some of it is dispatched over the air. Sometimes you get a little more information on the CAD screens. In an effort to try to reduce the burden on our dispatchers, we used to do something called silent dispatching and silent updating. And when you don't have a connection to the system, when the server is down or the system is down, we are not able to silently dispatch or give a disposition to our calls. We have to get back on the radio, try to raise the dispatcher. And again, they're busy in there. We've grown really big. And sometimes it's tough to get airtime. So that technology is a big piece of the puzzle for us. And if we're constantly trying to log into the system and we're fighting with this software, trying to make it work, trying to get logged in, it is part of security protocols. The security protocols are making things a lot more different. But if you go down a hill and you lose your cellular connection for a minute, you go back up out of the hill, there should be a little bit of a play period where that program could catch up. But in reality, what it does is it just cuts us off, and then we've got to stop and try to log in. You can't log in because now it sees you logged off and logged onto the cellular network. The IP address changes. Now you're not secured on the VPN. So what happens is you got to shut the computer completely off and reboot, and then log back in again. It's just a very cumbersome process.
So that can slow down your response, but also if you lose that connection, there's details missing, if I'm hearing this right, that could put you and your officers at risk because there's information that might be in there that you're not aware of. You could be walking into a hostile situation.
We certainly could be, and a lot of information that CBD puts into, let's call it a history log. Let's say we go to the same house 3 or 4 or 5 times a year, and there's a flag in there. Sometimes they don't announce those flags over the air because they want to, kind of keep things, low profile. They may alert us and say, hey, just take a look at your MDT. There could be a flag in there. And if we don't have our computer up and running, you're not going to see that officer safety flag.
How long has this been occurring since the transition to the new software?
Since the transition to the new software, probably going on 2 years now.
2 years now.
And there was a significant update late last year that really caused us a lot of problems. I've got one officer that comes in at 6 p.m. all the time. He logs into the system and then he gets booted off 15 minutes later. Then he's got to go through the process and log back on. It's just continuous IT issues.
I've been on the receiving end many times of software and hardware salesmen selling me something that the reality isn't that, but people's lives are on the line for what I do, so that's a big issue. It's been 2 years, really concerns me.
Yeah.
I know that when Spring Valley Dispatch was here, they mentioned something about they're having trouble, 1, with turnover, and 2, filling all the empty positions. Are you familiar at all, and you may not be, at Geauga County? Are they having staffing issues and turnover similarly?
No. The dispatchers at Geauga County are county residents for the most part. They do not have the turnover. They've got the same people that have been there. We know a lot of them from working with them in the past, and we have other officers from other agencies that came to work for South Russell, from Chester, from Middlefield, from other areas that still know some of the dispatchers today that are in Geauga County. Now, if we call into CBD, we don't really know anybody. The turnover has been that great. We may know a name or two, but the turnover has been very significant. And I just had a good conversation with the IT guy because I advised him that, hey, this is, a possibility that we're working on, transitioning. He asked me, he goes, hey, do you know anybody that, is interested in IT work? I've got 3 people that are gone or leaving. Everybody's leaving. And he was, looking for a lifeline to see if I can help him out with an IT individual. Nick himself told me that, he's short 10 people right now. They're down 10 people. And then that generates, significant amounts of overtime, which ultimately is going to probably be, handed down to us.
Thanks.
Chief,
Yes, sir.
I go to these executive committee meetings, and I can't recall the last time there's been a complaint about software. And I can't recall a complaint by you at our safety committee meetings. And now all of a sudden, CBD is terrible. This is bothering me.
Listen, I understand, I appreciate that, but I don't think you're dealing with the boots on the ground. You're dealing with the executives of each one of these municipalities, and they may not know. And I don't burden you with every kind of issue that we have. We have had continuous issues, and I would be happy to have you talk to any of the officers on our department. And there are also officers on a lot of these other agencies that are continuing to have problems with this software. Some of them have stuck with it and, hey, they're not happy, they're trying to make it work, but some of them just bailed. Some of them just bailed because the boots on the ground, the officers that are attempting to try to utilize these programs, they are layered and complex, and it's been a very difficult transition. Now, if everybody on CDD stuck with that software and everybody was using it, I'd be a fool. But right now, I don't go to you guys and say, hey, we're having all these issues. We're having, we manage them throughout the course of the day. I continuously get emails from my officers, this happened, that happened. It's been ongoing, and I think that we can alleviate a lot of these tech issues by going to a more solid platform, that the platform that's been established and is, functioning very well as it's been for many, many years. It's just that things have changed a little bit, and the level of service has changed for us.
I think of the complaints, concerns we've had with the ADP, it's monumental compared to what, as a CBD executive committee, we've dealt with. We haven't heard these concerns and issues. I think, we have to dig into them now, but I just feel caught completely off guard here.
My apologies. Again, I thought you were on board in the safety committee meeting when you agreed that we should, move to Geauga County. So that's, again, I misunderstood it. But
No, I mean, we should look with Geauga County. We have an obligation to our taxpayers, and we're probably going to go there. I mean, we're the bastard now. We're the only.
Remember what's not utilizing the dollars. Yeah.
Geauga County.
Yeah.
But I think, hearing from some of the mayors in Columbus last week, they're looking, they're trying to figure out what's best, but they're not just leaving. I mean, I think this has just we got going too fast here. I guess now, basically, right, you're saying we're in it we're going to pay for it till 2026. No matter what, so we have plenty of time to look into this.
Unless you get an exception.
Unless you get an exception, which I think we need to take every opportunity to have that discussion with CBD and to make our case that, I would also remind the mayor that on Thursday, October 17th, there was a finance committee meeting. Both the chief and the lieutenant were there, and according to the notes, the mayor was there. So, and there are 2 pages of notes specifically discussing this issue at finance. So there's 4 members of council that there's at least 3 members of council who have had at least some in-depth discussion on this. So I think we need to schedule a meeting with CBD and see what the options are before we say, oh, well, we're stuck with them for another year.
Chris, that meeting on the 16th, I walked out at about 10 after. Chris,
Okay, then potentially you weren't there. I could not remember.
I will get us on the next CBD executive committee meeting.
So, sir, are we certain, or maybe this is for the chief, are we certain that CBD can and will do only fire dispatch?
Yes, because I spoke to the director himself, and I spoke to the finance director of CBD. They actually gave me the spreadsheet on what it would cost for us to have fire services only. So yes, they, and Nick DeSico is aware that we are potentially, looking to Geauga County. Yes, he's completely understanding, and we're also working with him. You gotta understand, we're not leaving veg. So we're still gonna remain in veg. We're still going to be with Sugar Valley Fire. Nothing is changing there. So if we, they need the drum team, or if we need a SWAT team, we're still going to be able to receive those services. We're not leaving veg. Totally different ballgame. So we're still, nothing changes except for the fact where the PD gets their calls from.
So I bring this up because the last thing we want is for CBD to say, no, we don't do fire alone. You guys are cut off, and now we got to find a replacement fire department in a hurry, and that's either Bainbridge or Russell, like now.
Yeah, that can't happen.
That's definitely not the case, because again, there is an agency in here that is dispatched police only, with fire services being somewhere else, and just the opposite as well.
But no community has fire only, is that correct?
Fire only, yes.
Who is it?
Well, it says Bentleyville, which is kind of a fire Sugar Valley.
Bentleyville has their own
dispatches for
police
them.
department.
No, I'm sorry, that's,
Sugar.
it's the new update with South Russell. So yeah, no other entity has fire only. It's police only, or police and fire.
So, sir, does our contract with them allow us only to go with fire only?
First of all, the contract is from 2013
Okay.
that I know of. It is not the
Not
best,
what?
well-written, does not explain the services to a T. So maybe that would be something that we would have to kind of drill
Verify.
down and verify exactly what services they are providing. They just call it dispatch services of public safety. So,
What was that agreement signed?
well, there was one in 2011 and then a restated and amended in 2013. And I don't know if it's
That's
been
when
updated.
CBD was actually formed
Okay.
early on.
I don't know if it's been updated. This is the most recent that I have.
I don't mean to be alarmist,
Yeah.
but fire and police dispatch is super important. And we would like to know for sure, like in writing, that fire dispatch can be done alone in a contract going forward after 2025. I mean, if that's true, then your plan makes sense, chief, to have county here, even though the initial year is gonna cost us more.
Right.
Slightly
Right.
because of IT savings, but to the mayor's point, I mean, this is a big deal.
It's a
You know?
huge deal, yeah.
And perhaps we discuss it at the council meeting more, because we don't have to do this like tonight, do we?
No, I mean, again, my goal would be if we could start migrating, before the end of the year, that would be great. Because then we can get all of our officers on board with the new software, get everybody's login credentials squared away. And again, at that point, our service improves, our efficiency improves. Yeah, I mean, sure, we could stick around until we're done paid, but I still think it's in our best interest to make the move and figure out the details of this, what we can do with the contract, as soon as possible.
Chief, refresh our memories, what's the percentage increase from?
48%.
48%.
Correct.
Everything has gone up. Food prices have gone up, utilities have gone up, property taxes through the roof, okay? Personally, I don't mind paying for quality. If we can get better coverage at a better price, we should go forward. I don't want to pay this more money for the same quality. It has to show improvement. There has to be value there. But we should, without a doubt, cross the Ts, dot the Is, check everything, because yes, Mark, very important.
That phraseology that the solicitor read seems concerningly vague.
Ambiguous.
Yes. Public safety services, okay, fire, police, we know that. But can you get one without the other? And I'm a little worried when the contract doesn't specifically allow it in express terms.
Keep in mind, this is a very short contract. It doesn't provide for quite a few things not included. And again, this is from 11 years ago. I don't think there's an updated one that I've seen.
That's unusual, isn't it?
It is.
I think, one thing I'd ask council members to keep in mind is the business model is very similar to a restaurant chain that expands too much too quick. And then they find out that they don't have the staffing, they can't provide the same quality of service. And what happens as a result, whether it's a local Jug County gun store or a restaurant chain or anything else, is you start closing the franchises. And I think that if you look at that business model, that's very similar. I would presume that maybe in a well-intentioned move, Chagrin Valley Dispatch expanded, thought it was going to get better, thought it was going to get cheaper, and they found themselves in a situation where they can't support some of their communities or constituents adequately. And as a result, service suffers.
Well, if we discuss it more at council meeting tonight and provide the mayor, solicitor, and chief to provide the answers we're looking for, and maybe by the next council meeting, is that enough time there or 2 weeks? Chief?
To get with get the executive committee, I don't think probably in 2 weeks, but I will see.
But I would make a recommendation that we be prepared for this meeting with the executive committee, because again, the pitch is to allow us an exception.
You
To
you
get
say you are prepared already?
No,
Yeah.
to make sure you are prepared when you
Yes.
go there, because it sounds like, I mean, again, we'd have to obviously take a vote in public session of council, but it sounds like if to cancel this, I mean, we need to make the pitch to cancel and get an exception to the rule and have our reasons why we are asking for an exception.
Talking to some of the mayors, as I said again, last Columbus, there are others that are looking to get out. So I think this will probably be handled in a hopefully systematic way, that it just won't be Highland Hills goes in to ask to leave and University Heights goes, and then South Russell, then Chagrin, then Chagrin Township. I think there's going to be some effort to handle this properly. I do disagree on the service. Yes, they're a big organization, but no one, that's the meetings we've had this year, complained about their service, complained about what's going on. The only, this would not have, I don't see any changes in CBD if it were not, it's just a money issue. So I have to take exception to the fact that service has never been complained about. All right, the other thing, I'm gonna take a road trip up to Geauga County. If you'd like to come along, let me know and we'll figure out a date and time.
For the safety center? or-
Yes, yeah, never been, I was there once when I had to take the lie detector test, but that was a little different.
I don't think I want to know about that one.
No, oh, the missing.
Oh,
something.
that, okay.
Okay, chief, what else? Finance, any issues with the rest of the safety report? Chief, we're gonna dock you 54 minutes.
My apologies.
It's a very, it's a,
It is.
well prepared.
It is, and again, my apologies for the assumption that you were on board after safety.
Well, I knew we had to look, I thought we were getting, we're saddling the horse, and I think we're a little too fast. Anything else on these, we have these blank spots here,
On my report,
on the,
On the budget.
expense, on the budget report,
anything blank requires no increase.
okay? Any other questions, safety committee?
Do you just want to explain the drone and crosswalking of those?
Oh, yeah, so there are 3 items that are still in process. The tornado siren upgrade, the garage project for the drone vehicle, and the crosswalks. Each one of those 3 items are still not yet complete. I'm still working to coordinate these projects based on parts available and the timeframes in which we can do the tornado siren and the crosswalk. The garage project is on hold. I have to address the planning commission, I believe on November 12th or the 14th, to request the plans be approved by planning commission. And I think Dave Husvar advised me the next meeting would be a meeting with ABR. Once those items are completed, then we could potentially go out for bid for the garage project. So we are in the process. The plans have been updated as required by Dave Husvar. And just now, we're just in the process trying to get the village or the commissions to actually approve our plan to move forward.
Okay, so but basically, on the expenses, the safety, you can find it. It's drone-related expenses, it's 150,000, that's the estimate. Money's in the bank,
It's in the bank now, but I don't anticipate the project being completed in 2024.
okay?
So
Where's it, tornado siren on?
$5,720, that was an estimate we approved back months ago. The company is still waiting on parts for that project. It should be within the next few weeks. So that project could potentially get done before the end of the year.
Chief, where is on your sheet, what's the
Those are in the 24 budget.
expenses?
Yeah, they've been added to different items, different line items.
This was probably
Miscellaneous
special
other potentially.
or
So that's
special
the
when we go
24
around.
I gotta find it.
25?
I was trying to see where we'd be in this year. Okay.
Okay.
Anything else for the safety committee?
You want another vehicle next year, chief?
Yes,
Are we talking about a,
cruiser,
but gas only or hybrid?
hybrid. So that's what I'm looking to obtain is another hybrid.
And
They're all hybrids now?
Now, if you recall, there was that shortage after COVID. We were forced into two EcoBoost, which is the standard turbocharged model. We were not able to get two hybrids, so we have 3 and 2 right now.
but they're available. They're not,
They will be available in
Okay.
2025.
Chief, on the new equipment, the BWC and ICV system, a 1-year subscription, 46,000.
So that's the body worn camera and the in-car video system. The 1-year subscription is the equipment and the annual costs. And then it's going to be $25,000 annually in years 2 through 5.
Okay.
I am applying for a body worn camera grant. We could potentially get reimbursed for half of the body worn camera portion of that. I don't know what their payout is going to be, but I am applying for that grant to try to get some money back for that project.
Chief, can you comment on the SRO program?
Still functioning, SSO, still Mike Klein Connect, and everything is working as it should be. We are getting reimbursed at 70% of his salary, and we are paying 30% during the times in which he is on the road for us. It's working out pretty well. The actual, the position in which we created so that we can utilize him at our disposal when school is not in session was a great idea, and it's working out very well for us.
and school seems happy.
School is very happy.
Any other questions for the chief? All right, we have a sheet, expenses, fire and ambulance fund. Do we want to take that now since we're talking about safety? It says expenses, fire and ambulance fund. Could we? Okay. Any comments or any information on this?
General fund, is it?
No, it's,
Separate fire and
expenses,
Which one?
it's
AO4.
expenses, fire and ambulance.
AO4?
Yeah. Any changes, questions about this? About halfway down the sheet, donation to fire department. Somebody explain that?
Where are you?
Was that from last year?
halfway down the sheet on the fire and ambulance fund.
Oh, that's when we made that donation to,
Their building,
yeah, that
Yeah.
was years past.
Okay. All right. Do we need to keep that? Is it better just to keep it?
No, it's just, I have a long spreadsheet and have time to
Okay,
make it
all
look
right, so it's no
beautiful.
big deal.
It could be done.
All right, anything else safety-wise? Let me get organized here. Safety. All right, next thing is full streets.
Reese, Chuck here, reporting today.
Chaz.
We can make this really fast, it's cheap to forever.
All right, new record.
So, no, it's okay, I'm just giving you that time. You're gonna see the very large expenses for next year for two projects. Bell Road East, and once again, the salt structure.
Some other, do you want to go page by page? How do you want to do this from there?
Try to give us where you are as far as the sheets.
Sure, I'm
I mean,
going
I
to
got
share
five of them,
it's from BO1.
VO1? I'm ready.
You'll see, obviously, increase the road maintenance contract. I believe a lot of that is associated.
It's for all you guys budgeted for, next year was Bell Road East, and then part of that will come out of the, road and bridge fund, and then part out of, the street maintenance fund.
Road and bridge fund is half, right? Less than half. We're offsetting that. Okay. There's an increase in stormwater. That's because there's OPWC projects as well.
Well, the stormwater you guys had budgeted, previously you had some money in stormwater and some in storm sewer,
That's
and
right.
there was really no explanation as to why they were separated. So, Chris and Tim and I met last week, so they decided just to put all of it in stormwater.
So if you look in the middle of the page, BO1-06D, well, that's the storm sewers. No one could decipher why there were two different line items.
So you comboed them.
40 grand, because I suspect we'll have work to do in addition to Fairview. Sure. We couldn't decipher the difference between stormwater and storm sewers. 'Cause they're
So
all-
it's just off the
It's all
stormwater.
Yeah, so we just combined them. That's right. Thank you for reminding me of that meeting.
But it's a $0 budget,
Correct.
so should there be money in the budget?
Look, no, if you look,
Okay,
so, yeah, if you look at 2024, there was 40,500.
Yeah.
But not, for 25, there's nothing, but if you look towards the top of the sheet, at
Oh,
stormwater,
stormwater is 60.
that took, we
Or
just
112.
put the two together, but put it all in stormwater.
Thank you. Okay, all right, so we just change the names to protect the guilty.
Road materials, so Tim would be here. Tim had asked to do some more.
Wait a minute, what page are you on?
I'm still on page one, street.
Got it,
maintenance fund.
okay.
This is line item BO1-243.002. There's about $5,500 more. He's hoping to do more coal patching next year since all the roads won't be repaved as much. We're focusing mostly on Bell Road East. So if he can do some long-term coal patching around the village, he thinks that'll help us maintain some road a little bit longer. Again, we can reduce this if necessary, but that was the thought process behind that increase. Next increase, well, it's not an increase, but the salt rate is locked in. Well, we agreed to state contract in May. Yeah, April, May. Talking with Tim, he is hoping to keep closer eye on the amounts of salt used, so we can differently plan moving forward. We may not need as much when we order in May this year. If it's a warm winter, we definitely won't need as much. So if I move next, the next changes would be on the following page, the state highway fund expenses. In the middle there, traffic signals, it's $3,200. That is for a crosswalk. Now,
32,000.
32,000, let's say 3,200.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of difference.
Yeah, well,
Minor zero.
it's a government thing.
Yeah, right. My question for this, Danielle, was this for the Alderwood one, or was this planning for Kearney?
The Alderwood one was budgeted for in 24, and that's the one the chief was saying we don't know if it'll get done this year.
Okay,
And then this one was the one for right here on the intersection.
the intersection, okay, not Kearney. I was just confirming my memory that we weren't talking Kearney, because I know that was kind of a no-go with the schools for now.
And we put that in based on council discussion at a previous meeting earlier this year.
Sure.
So where's the crosswalk?
In BO2,
It's
State Highway Fund.
part of traffic signals. Yes.
Okay, under traffic signal is the crosswalk.
32,000. So that'll be Alderwood and potentially,
Well, that's just this intersection. Alderwood is in the 24 budget.
so if we don't have to, if it doesn't get done this year, we don't have to.
We'll have to encumber, we're gonna be doing a lot of encumbering of them this year.
Big word. All right, cemetery fund, I don't believe we changed anything, extra $500 for foundation supplies and other, so an extra $1,000 total potentially.
just material costs. Try to be on the safe side.
Is this was for both cemeteries?
Correct, and Tim was thinking ahead too, for the work this would be for Rare Cemetery, for some work there along the steps, I believe,
The railings,
for railings.
and I think once we got the railings, we were okay with the steps.
There's some other
There's some headstone repair or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's minor work needs to be done with.
Foundations, I think, too.
On the operating fund, there's obviously an expense increase for health insurance on line 212.004. Right now, the uniform thing is up in the air. I need to have a discussion with the solicitor about Cintas, do that separately. To see to examine our options with Cintas.
The contract's pretty one-sided, I suppose you'd say.
Yeah.
And
No, just let me
if
organize.
we terminate the contract before the end of the term, the 5-year term, we wind up paying anyway, which is not fair to keep it. So, like the mayor may go to, Chagrin Valley Dispatch Executive Committee and it has to be let out of our contract, which I foresee the mayor doing something similar, perhaps by letter, for Cintas.
Yes, I guess my question now would be for the signing authority to bring up and see where that goes. May not go anywhere, but I think we should at least do our due diligence and try to see if we can get out of that contract.
A mutual termination would be favorable and amicable.
Absolutely.
And when the gentleman came out last week, I again asked if somebody can contact us, because when we call them, we're not getting any reply. And he said somebody would get back to me that day, and that was Wednesday. So,
And they didn't.
yeah, he's not gonna address it.
Chris, on the healthcare,
Yes.
the quote was 4.48%, is that right? Yeah,
Yeah,
so you got an increase of
because we
$12,000.
went from one individual who was a single to now family.
Okay, so that adjusts.
I figured out per person.
Okay, thank you. Good.
Okay, next, Road and Bridge Fund. You'll see the request is,
That's also for them.
that's also for dollars, significantly less though because of the
revaluation.
revaluation. We are not collecting. Special Road Fund, nothing changed.
The 92,400. I thought that was, Fairview.
That is for the.
That's Hemlock Walters, yeah.
That's for the culvert? What the culvert's getting, I don't remember what that's for.
That's Hemlock.
That's Hemlock Walters,
That's
That is where I
the,
was.
The other, the one we're
the Russell Cole.
that's the one that you guys actually paid half in the PWC grant.
I keep saying Fairview, isn't that the same thing?
Yeah,
Which one
No,
everyone runs into it's about 10 feet away from it.
This is the other one.
Yeah.
Got the triangle there.
no. This is the one that's split down Hemlock between Russell and South Russell.
So across Walters / Hemlock Road.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
Fairview,
Russell on the far side, the
It is.
north side, and us, it's South Russell on the,
yeah,
I
that
thought
little
the
triangle.
I thought the Fairview project went from us on Fairview through the ravine to the pipe that was half in Russell, half out. Okay, that's the one we're talking about.
Sorry, well, because there's other work that needs to be done on Fairview that's separate.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I didn't mean to confuse you.
So technically, yeah,
Okay.
All right, the next page is the big whopper. Right now, we have $775,000 in there.
what page you on?
I'm on
Lost.
special land and building,
DO3,
special land and building fund.
okay,
Cell phone, 775.
Yeah, now, that could be a way. I mean, it's an educated way.
Have we heard from the engineer on the topic of quotes?
He was out on, Thursday for a meeting with the corporate people, and following that meeting, he asked me who was gonna get the quotes for the salt dome, because if you remember at the last council meeting,
Right.
we're gonna get quotes to kind of be able to budget, and then we still would have to go out for bid later.
Yeah.
And you, Mark, said you would handle
I
the quotes, so.
But I don't know that we've heard anything. At least I haven't, so I asked of the group. I haven't heard anything, no. Well, maybe we'll hear something tonight. Okay. And I did see the mayor's note about, Geauga County, so an article should be like, I did not read it though. It's a new
Yeah,
salt structure.
exact same amount, $775,000.
I didn't see the details of
For a
that
new salt
structure,
dome.
but
And then
I'll
just
go ahead
so,
and read it.
I'm sorry, the park restroom won't happen this year, so we'll have to encumber that too.
Okay,
So that needs to be put in there?
so we need,
It's, well, it's budgeted for 24, so we're gonna have to keep a lot of POs open until 25. You budgeted this year, but, per the street commissioner the other day, it's not gonna happen this year.
No,
So we'll have to keep that PO open.
Is that like an April thing?
we hope,
May?
yeah, we don't want winter.
you just don't want to move any money into that line item, the bathroom at the park, so we can plan for it. I mean, what do we set aside for the bathroom now?
I believe it's 140,000.
So should we put in 140?
Well, it's in 24's budget. We'll leave the PO open, so we'll pay for it in 25, but it'll come out of 24's budget.
Okay, that's easier. All right.
No, it's not easier. It's just
Just
For you, it's easier.
Yeah, I would rather have it done this year.
Wouldn't we all?
Next page, D12, Bell Road East. We have on the budget here, 1.26, 1.27 million, rounding out. A lot of that, 1.019 million is from the NOACA grant. It's my understanding though, those numbers are off estimates from 6-7 years ago.
No, it was earlier. I think Garrett did that, got estimates a few months ago.
No, I think when we applied, that estimate was based off of when we applied for the grant and then we got that grant. Maybe 2 years ago we notified, because
Well, that sounds about right.
so we're hoping those numbers are still good. But we won't know until we go out to
So we
bid.
were-
But we are committed to doing 25, because
It's the last year.
that's the year the grant is.
The bike stuff is still 2026 for the.
Right.
800,000.
300,000.
Yeah. So that's the big whopper on that page. And then finally, D13, the large equipment. Currently, there's $100,000 for a 1-ton dump truck. The street commissioner has, I think we went through last time, our last meeting, the benefits of a box swap or swap box.
Yes.
Where would be 3 vehicles in one. I know this comes from the large equipment fund. I don't think that, I'm just a little hesitant because we're spending a lot of money next year. And he's aware of that.
The current 1 ton's on its way down.
And we discussed the backhoe, I discussed the backhoe with him, he said that can definitely be pushed back, yeah, another year to 26, so we'll see, where this all goes. I think the swap loader truck was be fully fitted
He said 325, I put in the wrong column on that sheet, I'm sorry.
for
That's what he was requesting for.
325, is that for the swap loader and then also the
It's
skid
just-
steer and
Yes.
something else?
Mini ditch,
I put it in wrong.
right?
Yeah, I think it's a, we'd love to have kind of budget,
I think there's more discussion to be had
yes.
before we pull the trigger on any of
This
this.
swamp thing,
This, was a swap truck, we replaced the 1 ton, but will give us the ability to do a few other, pieces of equipment. But he also, instead of a backhoe, he was speaking about a skid steer and, where else you guys mentioned?
The
Mini
first two
ditch,
pieces
Mini
are
ditch thing, yeah. I think we need to maybe hone in on one piece for next year, figure out what that might look like in reality before we, or if anything.
It bears more discussion.
Yeah, we can talk about it in our next committee meeting. But I'm not hesitant.
I think that back one's pretty useful.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we went from a
absolutely.
smaller one to a bigger one.
We did.
So that would be the last page, I think. Yes, from the street side. Any questions?
Good job, Chris Brown.
Yeah. Anything else, Chris, out of the ordinary, it's not on paper here?
Oh, yeah, just one. Well, if we actually do Bell Road East and the salt down, it's a lot. That's a lot. That's $2 million approximately.
Plus the bathroom, but, I mean, we have a lot of things that are carrying over and then that, so it's a lot.
But everything pales in importance to the restroom at the park.
No, Bell Road East takes precedence over that for me.
Because you have to get to the restroom at the park.
I don't have to, I could.
Chris,
Doing the generic sense.
Chris, in the whole process with the new street commissioner, you kind of got stuck. You and Danielle got stuck last Thursday morning coming up with a budget on short notice.
No, he was there. I mean, it was the three of us and we
Yeah.
kind of talked it out and I tried to explain it. It just seemed to get it.
No, he gets it.
You got it,
He
okay.
understands, you know, ask and understand it might be a no.
I'm thinking the timing is,
Oh, I'm sure it's off the plan, so
Yeah.
I'm sure he's here for a month and a half, so what do you? I'm still learning my guys' routines.
And he's just trying to figure out like how the budget was put together, how things were classified versus how he would classify it. So we can have a work together this year trying to figure out.
He's always thinking of expenditures too, he's always thinking of ways to maximize that expenditure, and not just one function, multiple functions, or better use of taxpayer money, so I appreciate that.
all right, Chris, you're up for the building, and we'll do building and then property.
Feel free. Oh, that's me, gosh. Building. I think our largest expense, well, there's an increase here in inspection services. As we discussed in our last meeting, we had to increase Dave's max no more than $10,000 for the remainder of the calendar year. So it looks like Danielle, you've kind of.
I didn't get a budget, I'm sorry, from building, so I just kind of estimated like
Okay.
60,000 maybe for inspection solutions and 7,000 for DAG, but just as a placeholder for you to design.
Okay. Two other things we have here, computer expense. That is because we are going to need to change our software from Cityforce to iWork. The solicitor looked at the contract and it was okay.
So City Force is out.
So Cityforce, it's the same ownership group. iWork bought them. So you can still use it, but we're not going to service it anymore. So it's opening us up to liability. Computer tax, whatever. So unfortunately, go figure, but when they want us to go on, it's a little more expensive. So we budget that expense in there. Speaking of the fiscal officer, I think we can swing it. Unless council feels otherwise, that's fine. The second thing in there is we really need to finally replace the new contract, the copier in there. It has far exceeded its useful life. Administrative assistant and fiscal officer were kind enough to get quite a few quotes for us that we will review at our next building committee meeting. But it should all fall underneath this $9,500. There are three quotes. There are three quotes in here.
That's a copier here or?
In the building department.
Building, okay.
And so we will discuss those in November. But right now, the 95 might be high once we come back from the
That would be the worst case scenario.
worst case. That's real. Those are the three items in there. That's it from my side, right?
Any questions of the building department? Okay, so basically, inspection solutions, it's going up to 67,000.
But that's inspection and DAG.
Okay,
And you have
And
to
the
redo
copy
their
machine.
contract.
okay. And the copy machine there, almost 10,000. Anything else, Jerry? Building? Okay, so we got the copier, miscellaneous. And we've done inspection services. I think we're done on the building. All right, we are at property. You have a sheet in front of you. I think it says Parks and Recreation. It starts out with the Fall Festival, land improvements. Any changes or corrections to Parks and Recreations? Anything you want to do next year?
7,500 enough for the fall festival?
Well, if we're taking away the hot dogs, so I don't know what that cost would be a decrease.
Did you start on hot dogs?
I,
The fee with village buys is around just maybe 1,200.
Here's some suggestions for Parks and Recreation. Anybody else have anything before I go?
does the burn would cost us money?
The burn, they're asking for donation.
Is that land improvement?
Yeah, I guess we could put it
Could
there.
be.
All right, here's my thought going down though. Miscellaneous other, I would leave at, what is that, 13,580 or something?
Yeah.
You know what that's a lot. What do we do? You recall what we do for the park?
Is that what we pay Watershed Partners? We pay them like $5,000.
Well, there's that, then there's the mowing,
Yeah, the mowing.
The mowing.
Mowing and everything?
and then there's the maintenance of the benches. I
Okay.
think we pour a foundation or two a year or something like that.
Well, then usually if there's trees or plantings or that kind
Yeah.
of stuff.
All right, so we'll just leave that in there. For the Fall Festival, my suggestion is, we take a good hard look, but I think also we should up it to about $10,000 as to what we do the Fall Festival. I got two thoughts. I think the Fall Festival is stale, but on the other hand, there were no bounce houses, there was no hay rides, there was no life flight, and the people had a good time.
They did.
I don't know. Anyhow, I think we should consider making some changes to the Fall Festival. My recommendation is take it up to $10,000, gives the committee a little freedom. Maybe you can put some changes to it. That's just my suggestion.
I think that's a good one. Make it a little bigger.
Yeah, make it better. So I'm suggesting 10,000. For land and improvements, I'm suggesting $5,000 goes into we did a master plan for the park. We had a meeting here last week and talked about some changes for the park, which includes a burn, maybe making other changes. Most of the people coming to this meeting don't like the burn, but it was explained to them, it's the simplest way to get the hay out of there. So Rich Washington from CT, he did the master plan for the park, and he had some ideas in the original master plan, which was given to us about 1.5 years ago. We haven't really looked at it yet. So I'm thinking we need to upgrade that master plan at about $5,000. And they're talking about burn and different isolation trees and trying to do something maybe what's better for the park than just haying it off every year. But that's just some thoughts to see what the experts come back and say, this is what you should do. I mean, I appreciate the park committee, I appreciate the volunteers, but some of them have a limited knowledge, but we need to get some experts in here saying, this is what you should do for the park. So I think we should look at the master plan and probably improve it for a tone of about $5,000. All right, next thing, there's no line item for this, but this is my thought since we're on Parks and Recreation, that we hire CT to do a master plan for trails. Again, we have a bunch of amateurs looking into trails and all these ideas and feeling that we got to spend $800,000 because they gave it to us, but we have no plan besides I want this and I want that. And I think what we need to do is to get somebody, CT, to say, this is what the village should do, should or should not do. I mean, you hear about a trail from Gurney to the park. It made sense to me. but I'm not a land person, so I think we should spend, and I based this on the master plan for the park 2 years ago, cost us $12,000. I think we should probably budget $15,000 to do a master plan for trails and see what we should do and see what see what the experts say.
Can you define trails?
If I said the trail, I would say it would be either a limestone or an asphalt trail, maybe through, Eric's big baby is the interurban line. Put a trail in there. Other people want bike paths from here as far east as we can go safely. But no, I'm not the expert, and that's why I want to get CT in here.
So you're defining trails beyond the scope of the park to include the entire village?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Is there something we could or should do? Yeah, you
I
know,
thought you were just talking about the park, okay.
no, I'm sorry. No,
Okay.
no, I'm talking about the village. I mean, is there something we should do on East Washington Street? You know, stuff like that. Last thing, looking for $25,000 to plan and implement some changes to the corner lot. This is just a luxury, but the corner lot doesn't look the greatest, and I think we have a chance to make some improvements. Again, this would be probably be this same Rich Washington, since he does a lot of their landscape architecture, to come to us with a proposal of what to do with the corner lot. Now, corner lot, maybe level it off, plant grass and cut down the trees, or who knows? But those are just some of my thoughts for changes for property. So you're looking at $45,000 to do some nice things.
Can I just confirm, so the changes we have for Fall Festival changing from 7,500 to 10,000?
Check.
And then the land improvements, increasing $5,000 for donation burn / master plan?
Yes,
And then for the overall village, hire CT to do a master plan for 15,000,
check,
as well as plan, something for the corner lot for 25,000.
yes. Corner lot would be, my thought would be something, you know, master plan, implementation, whatever it takes. And again, I'm not an engineer, this is just my numbers. But I think we need to do something. Anything else on parks and recreation? Okay, we are on general expenses.
The main thing I had was, I told you all in my last report that my financial software is gonna have to be replaced, so I, did talk to Russell Township about their UAN, and I talked to the state, so that would be approximately $5,000. I'm still gonna talk to our current vendor to see what their, new software looks like and to get a cost, but for the budget purposes, I budgeted $15,000 for ADP, and that's for all departments, not including
What
the
page are you on as far as,
AO1,
General.
you're on general,
and then
L1?
5,000 for the UAN.
Okay,
And then for the newsletter, I kept the budget money in there to, I was gonna work with Christel to help us try to find a way to get the word out to people, whether it be an app or text messaging. So if we could keep that same amount in the budget, and then of course we would come back to council. And then lastly was for the cemetery fund, I did increase the budget $500 to do, people will be able to go onto our website and then go into the cemetery and get the information on the people that are buried there. To find out where they're located and all
what
their
page is that on, which page?
That's
Here.
BO3.
Service fund, okay, got it.
Yeah, wasn't the software we bought for the cemetery back then, wasn't it supposed to be able to do that?
Well, it does it for us, but we don't pay for that. So now I want it to, because we do have money in the cemetery fund from everything we sell. All that money has to go in the cemetery fund so that we have the money in there. And I thought that'd be a good feature for people to be able to access, to find out where whoever they're looking for is buried, and then any information the family gives us would be in there that they can look it up.
So there would be like a tab or something on our website?
For $500 a year.
So is that under the village hall thing?
No, it'd be under the cemetery budget. It was, I added it under miscellaneous, office supplies under the cemetery budget. When the mayor was going through that.
So that would, in other words, they'd look it up, let me make sure I have it right, they'd look it up and here's what's available, kind
Well,
of
they
thing?
could, I mean, we have that, just a picture on our website, but they can get a map of the, cemetery and then click on it and get the information on who's buried there, and then whatever information the family gives us. Some family would give us, Leslie always looks up the obituary, but like, if they want pictures with their family, or we have pictures of their headstone, or like a history, because people do that kind of research, so it would all be there for them.
Okay. You'd have to get the family's permission, wouldn't you? Or
We
is
get it when we bury them.
Anything else on general fund expenses?
Yes, I have a
What page you on?
No, it's the first page.
Which one is the first page?
That would be
A01.
AO1.
I have a question, statement, and suggestion. The solicitor. Is there a limit in the Ohio Revised Code on how much a village mayor or council can earn a year?
I don't know if it's statutory. I don't think it's statutory. Like a township has statutory provisions as to the limit. I'd have to check for
Okay.
sure.
Okay. This is my 9th year on council. I'm very proud that we take care of our people. Our people make a fair wage and a fair salary. And we take care of their health care. And I was wondering if council would consider us studying the possibilities of taking a long look at what the mayor makes and what council makes, and perhaps bump it up a little bit. We're responsible for a multi-million-dollar budget. We're responsible for a multi-million-dollar investment. So this is just an idea I'm throwing out for council to discuss,
Great,
either now or at a later date.
And
That'd be
just,
finance and human resources.
just remember, it cannot be an interim increase, so
Correct, correct,
it would have to be
Correct.
first. Okay.
correct. It wouldn't take effect until the next election.
Well, then it
Well,
would be
keep that in mind.
Right.
per term, so
Correct.
the people with the first round gets it the first time, second, it's nice.
Okay,
I hear what you're saying, not a big fan.
okay.
It just makes my skin crawl when politicians talk about raising their pay.
Yeah.
I don't do it for the fact. So, but I know what you're saying, I respect that, and we can discuss it.
I just want to throw it out.
and on the opposite, I am a big fan.
So I see your point. I mean, it's a very sticky situation.
Yeah.
No question about it.
Honestly, I thought it was a volunteer gig, so.
Although the United States Congress has no problem giving themselves a raise.
That's right.
It only becomes effective after the next election.
Correct.
But Chris, Hunting Valley, the mayor and the council all serve without compensation.
Yeah, that's right.
Gates Mills
They're
too.
pretty well compensated in other places in Hunting Valley.
Evidently, they don't worry about such things.
But I'd have to go to the next finance committee meeting and get officially approved or shut down.
Right.
Anything else? Look on it says expenses service fund A02, 01C 231, A02, 01C 231. Under buildings cleaning, is that Tim
Susar.
Tessar?
Mhm.
Okay, how many times does he come?
He comes once a month, and then sometimes he, washes the windows, does the lights.
Once a
does
week.
I'm sorry, once a week, and then, he does special deep cleaning.
He's going up $30 a week. That's an increase of $1,500.
Does a great job.
Yeah, he's very good. So that would be under buildings cleaning. He's going from 5 to 8.
So we always budget more because that way when we need the windows washed or the lights cleaned or whatever done, the money's in there waxing the floors.
Okay, so we're good.
Yeah.
Anything else before we end this budget work session? Chief?
I did reach out to the CBD director, and he did say yes, in fact, they will continue to dispatch for fire if the police decides to transition over to John County.
Chief?
Yes, I have it.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we need a motion to adjourn. It is 7:07 PM. Moved by Canton, seconded by
Kevin.
Kavanaugh. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We will come back.